Hey everyone, this is Eric, aka ECM Vision, and today I'm going to be sharing one of my sketchbooks with you. This sketchbook is revolving around a time of pretty big transition in my life. I moved from Hawaii to Japan during this time, and during that transition I was kind of in a halted place with making art, mostly because of moving. I was also transitioning out of some work that I decided I wanted to move away from. I was calling tropical surrealism at the time. So this book definitely is a good representation of me trying to rediscover some old themes and kind of techniques that I used to do long ago, and kind of bring them back up and integrate them into what I would want to do for the future. So if you are liking the video, please give me a like and hit that subscribe button to follow along with my ECM Vision art journey. Okay, here's the book. Undecorated moleskin book. And you can see December 2022, Honolulu, to March 2024, Zama, Kanagawa, Japan. (12/5/22). I bought this book on my birthday, 2022. This is Kailua Beach Park. This is on the windward side of Oahu. And I had bought the book, and we did a quick stop at the park, spent a little time there. I did a very quick sketch just to break in the book. Just kind of an abstract. So a lot of this book is going to be black and white pen drawing. I use a Pilot V5 pen a lot. It's kind of my favorite pen, mostly for sketchbook drawing. And you can see this one here is planning the move. So we were having lunch and talking about how's this move gonna go. Yeah, I like the Pilot V5. Really easy to find, and great flow. Fun to draw with. So there's this character kind of starting, maybe not this specific character, but characters in general. Character exploration. There's a lot of text in this one too, kind of acting as a journal. Abstract brush pens, getting color down. I think I was thinking back and forth. I was trying to move out of this landscape way of working and wanting to actually think about abstraction a little more, and kind of like this like non-objective abstraction. So we had already moved here. So there's kind of a jump here from 12/5. I don't really know. I didn't date everything, but this is January 30th, so a little over a month later, and we're here. And first attempt. A guy in a kimono with a teapot. Practicing my katakana. This is too big. Characters coming through. Pencil drawing. This is very illustration like for me, I guess. I don't really draw in pencil very much either, so this is kind of different. Mark making. This kind of stuff is where I get the most out of the sketchbook, by doing this kind of work. I think that's the train. I always look back and wonder, why did I just leave it like that? But sometimes I'll go back into them and rework them a bit. Some of them roll, kind of roll a little more chronologically than others. But this one is from 5/28/23. We had taken a trip to Hakone, which is an area near Mount Fuji, and we stayed at a place, an onsen, and kind of within the resort onsen is this area where you can walk up and there's a waterfall, and at the top there's a shrine. And so I sat up there and just did a quick sketch. More sketches from them. Onsen tub. This wasn't public bath. It was like we had a private. I have tattoos, so we try to do private when we can. So there's a lot of experimentation of, like, I don't know. I thought maybe this could be a character I could use in painting. But there's a lot of loose line work. I think a lot of the looseness comes from thinking about it as practice, just doing reps, just getting my hand to move and to see, just by not overthinking it, and see what can come out. So it's both exciting and also a way to get me to continuously do it. If I can go into it without having to think about it too much, then I'm more likely to do it. And this is the place for that. So there was on and off, periods of time when I'm drawing in it every day. Ideally, I should be. I would like to. This is my dog, and he's sleeping in his little bed here. And this is, you kind of see the dog starting to come up a little bit more. So thinking about figuration a little more, and I was never too comfortable doing it before, and I'd say I kind of avoided it, but been approaching it and confronting it, getting out of my comfort zone. And here's some trees though, but getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things. There's a little list. I moved to Japan and wanted to, be really get the most out of the experience of being here, and can that translate into my art. So I just started listing things to think about, to look at, and to try and work on, to incorporate my experience while I'm here. And yeah, I like this vibe goal. Not taking it too serious. Humor, playfulness, edgy, optimistic, insightful, existential threads, children's expressions. I think I've kept the vibe goal going since doing this. So this was a little over a year ago, I guess, at this point, because this is dated 9/16/23. We got the dog looking into the city. So I think I've kept the vibe goal up. Definitely more playful and trying new things with optimism. Character studies, text, the dog. Oh, yeah. Composition planning for paintings that I haven't done yet. Some characters. This dog, a wet dog, maybe a cat, in like a robe, sitting in, I guess, maybe a bowl of water. This is interesting to me because it's very cute, and cuteness was something I'm starting to kind of lean into a little bit more and allow it to come through in my work. I particularly like this. I think this is a unique approach to drawing for me. And I like the color combination and the subject matter. It's kind of esoteric but also kind of silly at the same time. But definitely when I'm feeling insecure, it kind of comes out in the book. I particularly like this sketch as well. Very loose, a lot of energy to it, interesting, different dynamic line weights. Composition is so interesting to me. It's kind of a figure, but kind of not. It's kind of an abstractness that I think I'm always kind of striving for, and it's very difficult for me to translate this into painting. I haven't quite bridged that yet, but in drawing, this is great. But I was talking to another artist friend about that, and kind of talking about how drawing and painting are two different languages, and sometimes they meet and sometimes they don't, and kind of, I guess, validating that my drawing language can be different than my painting language, because it's a different mindset in some ways. I really admire those that can combine the two, or to kind of switch back and forth very easily. This one's interesting to me too. This makes me want to include it in a painting somehow. That's another this is another great thing about looking in the book, is that another great way or good reason to look back into the sketchbooks is to see something like this and to remind myself that I have a well of content and things that I've already, ideas that are seeds that have the opportunity to be brought about in finished painting or a finished work of some kind. So I think that's also the drive behind the sketchbook. Generate ideas as quickly as possible without judgment, so that I have a record of things when I don't know what to do. I can go back into, pull them out, not necessarily replicate it, but to use it as a jumping off point at least. This one says, exaggerated features more, because riding the line of realism too closely, trying to be accurate, is creating a disservice to the work by trying. And then he says, okay, thanks. So now we're getting into about a year into the book. 12/5, 12/6, 2023. Got the dog sleeping here. Trying to draw him from life more so I could get an understanding of his proportions and general features. Not because I wanted to get more accurate with drawing him, but just to understand it first and then to expand on that when I am creating his alter ego in painting. Just trying out different dynamic kind of poses too. Like I said, I'm not very confident in figurative work, but something I have been playing with and confronting in myself. This is fun. I think this is when I'm actually kind of thinking about composition a little bit more, like especially in this one. These are composition studies for paintings. I've yet to execute them in painting. But here we are, rediscovering. I like this one. I think this is something I probably would work with. Maybe something like this. Basic studies. It's fun to do these, just to remind myself like how much expression you can get with very little information, and it's a fun challenge. Like I'm just not even thinking, not even trying to do anything, but these things just come together, and it's just, when I look at it still, I'm like, how did I come up with that? But it really starts with just a simple line, and then the information kind of bounces off of each other and starts building this thing. I'm still amazed by it. More potential painting compositions. Kind of into this one here. I like this one too. I don't think I would do, yeah, these four, but I wouldn't do them exactly. I think there's other things I would want to do to them, but good start. Good starting idea. More compositions. This one I kind of have a painting going that's similar to this now, but it's kind of a great composition. I think I could probably do again and again and come up with something new for it. A lot of very surrealistic. I'm very influenced by surrealism, and definitely cartoons were heavily ingested as a child, and I would sit in front of the TV drawing them obsessively. So I think in this book that I'm definitely wanting to reconnect with that. Two things I really love: coffee and the dog. My dog. Is my French press, double wall. Great, love it. Had it for years. Shape behind it, not too sure about. Yeah, it almost kind of mimics him. I guess it mimics these shapes a little bit. What is the truth I'm telling in the work? Is there any truth in it? Maybe the truth in it is only relevant to me. Does the work provide anything to others? Would I know? I like to ask myself a lot of questions like this. I think maybe it's the other, I don't know what the other part of myself is that isn't the ego, but maybe that part is kind of questioning the ego, being like, hey, do you know what you're doing? Or what do you think you're doing? Or, kind of giving it, it's not really like I guess it's kind of the inner critic, but it's a little bit more, less berating and bullyish and more just asking questions, like reflective, more of a reflective companion maybe. The bully inner critic definitely exists in there too. Maybe that's who all these characters are here. Clear ideas are hard to come by. Keep it free. A lot of little reminder notes. I like this abstract, but it's the dog, very more, I don't know, very dense. I kind of like the denseness of this and how much it's, the abstraction is coming in and out. And then this, we saw this earlier in the book, and I thought I would try it again. Never went anywhere. Some more notes to self. Go with the change. It will be unrecognizable. Stop trying to control. Control doesn't exist. It's temporary. Hold. Lose yourself to it. The language. If it feels raw, then it's good. Seek and sit in in-betweens. Unfamiliarity is the zone of fertile work. Kind of serious thinking there. Sleeping dog. I think a Buddha. Yeah. Never finished. This is always fun. The bad hand. Like, that's maybe inner critic. Trying, and then I've, for some reason, felt the need to point out to myself that that is bad. I don't think it's that bad, but... I am fascinated with art that has art in it. I've always been interested in that. I've never fully kind of like executed that or like worked with it too much, but I guess here I have, and a couple other things I did too. But you kind of create a little inner competition, because sometimes the painting that's just meant to be a representation of, or a symbol of, like a art. My fear would be that that is better than the overall composition. But that sounds like a super fun challenge to see, how do you differentiate from this to this, and is there a difference? And so Jan 22, 2024. All right, so we're in 2024 here, and the dog is probably going to be out here a lot. Yeah. Expressionistic. Let's move into it. All right. I think around this time I reconnecting with an old artist friend, and her work is has a naive quality to it, and we're both talking about how we love our sketchbook, how we wish we could translate the directness of a sketchbook into painting. And so we both have been kind of having a lot of conversations about our work and how do we approach making it, and having this kind of directness. But I love all these little things, you know. I love doing this, like little things, like little coffee cup and the little dog. I feel like this really captures him. It's fun to look at these. It's just so much nonsense, and I love that. Floating strawberry. Ravens, yeah. A lot of ravens near where I live at particular times of the year. And kind of afraid of them, mostly because they do have the potential to swoop down and grab my little dog, who's 8 pounds, so... Again, kind of this very loose, abstract, but figurative. I like that. Time to move into psychological spaces and away from landscape. So I'm still dealing with this transition in my head of like having done landscape for so long. And what is a psychological space? Trying to get away from referential landscape. I don't know why, but I guess I wanted a fresh, new world to work in. And I'm finding it difficult. But still exploring it. So the sketchbook, you know, it's a place to develop language, a visual language. And so the repetition for me helps to edit or weed out or sift out what's going to be important or what's consistent, at least. If it's consistent, then, you know, I always think it's worth spending the effort to make a larger painting or something more involved with it. Here we go. How to turn the looseness, flow, and ease of the sketchbooks into the finished drawings and paintings. There's an anxiety when I'm painting, maybe too much. It gets in the way. Some is good, but too much stifles. Yeah, and then when the anxiety hits, I forget that I have this whole book to reference. I have my own books to help guide me, yet I forget to use them. Again, this is good abstract and figurative combination that I'm feeling. Exploring textures. I'm okay with a certain level of decorativeness. You know, these and this, filling up spaces. Not everything has to be a gut-wrenching existential line. Some things can be, for me, is very pleasing to my eye to fill in some spaces with some information like that. Has a rhythm. I think about music, I think about textures of sounds kind of layering together. Here we have art in art. dogs. Guy falling asleep. I had a dream that my niece thought I was lame. Maybe that's the title of my memoir. The unknown of the figures past, why they are and where they come from. Scribble the figure, that's one of the main desires. If it's going to be unrecognizable, then make it enjoyable to look at. And that's the end of the book. So, thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to check out my website, ecmvisionstudio.com, link is below in the description. I have some prints and original artwork for sale.